What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your brewmaster in chief. And tonight in the BrewLab, I am coming at you with, as voted on by the subscribers, a Boros Soldiers brew that I have been enjoying more than I can describe because it is completely different. You haven't seen this on the ladder at all. Something that I just wanted to mention before we dive into tonight's deck tech is that we got 5 of these lords. We got the soldiers, we got the goblins, elves, merfolk. I can't for the life of me remember what the last one is, but of those tribes available in standard right now, soldiers is actually the one that is the most supported. There's very few goblins, there's very few good elves, and very few merfolk to make actual tribal brews out of. But soldiers, actually a lot more than you would think. If you just type soldiers in your little search bar, some really good cards pop up, some that see a lot of play already. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into tonight's brew. Boros Soldiers version 1. We've got a version 2 that I want to dive into just for a little bit of bonus footage towards the end. So stay tuned for that. But as far as version 1 is concerned, it is a very, very interesting little deck. And there's been some last minute adjustments just before I hit record. The original version was running 4 Lantern Flares, 4 Valorous Stance. I've cut this down to 3 and 3 and put in 2 March of Otherworldly Light. The amount of Selesnya enchantments now is just like flooding the meta. It has overtaken Mono Black as the top deck in the format. For those of you who do not follow Untapped, I'm just going to do a quick little show of the meta for you guys here. Mythic, as you can see, yes, just here underneath me, the I've filtered it to be just the stuff in Mythic. Mono Black Control is still controlling the most meta share, but as far as win rates are concerned, Selesnya Enchantments is well above Mono Black Control in terms of win rate, which is interesting to say the least. And what is even more interesting to me is that this deck does not play a single new card. Not one. It's a case of similar to what happened, if you can remember that far back, with Angels during the standard 2022 play queue when they did that like future standard, the set still remain after rotation play queue last year, where because of certain cards not being in the format or the card pool being a little bit limited, certain decks that were already like very strong before suddenly just poof. And Selesnya Enchantments is clearly one of those. Like I said, not a single new card, and currently the top deck in the meta. So you need to start running some enchantment removal, which is the reasoning behind these couple copies of March of Otherworldly Light. And there's another option that you could consider, which is Destroy Evil, a nice new card from Dominaria United. Nice and versatile, like Valorous Stance. You can either use it as a removal spell for Shield Red and things like that, toughness 4 or greater, or destroy target enchantment. I'm wondering whether Wizards foretold this rise of Selesnya enchantments after rotation and printed this card, because it's clearly very good also against all the new sagas and things, but I've decided to stick with March of Otherworldly Light for that's a little bit more versatility in that it can be creature, enchantment, or artifact. And it's exile, not destroy. So we've anyway, last minute changes done. Let's take it from the top. We've got 4 copies of the Gavony Trapper. Little crappy common by the looks of things. You've probably never even seen this card, but the ability to tap a target creature for 2 mana has been absolutely amazing. There are those situations with an aggro deck where the opponent finally slams the big creature that's getting in the way of all your attackers, and you can't quite find a good attack lane to keep mounting the pressure on the opponent. Being able to just tap that thing down for 2 mana and continue to swing is really, really nice. And notice it doesn't have Defender. So once you've got a couple of these Valiant Veterans on the battlefield, it can actually become a half-decent attacker as well. Or in the worst-case scenario, you can use it to... you can enlist it with the Guardian of New Benalia. You know, if you do it when it's a 0-2, completely useless, don't do that. But once you've got a few Valiant Veterans in play and it's like maybe a 2-4 or something like that, then suddenly it becomes a nice thing to enlist with Guardian of New Benalia, which is the next card in the deck, which is of course also a soldier. And the Scry 2 on this and the ability to just continue to keep on attacking has been just phenomenal. Because, you know, you can give it indestructible. So even if they do block, at least you got the Scry. Or if they block and are hoping to trade, you discard something, give it indestructible. Now they lose their creature, you don't, and you still got the Scry 2. In a deck like this that doesn't have much card draw, that Scry 2 has just been invaluable. And of course, everything that you discard to make it indestructible, you can then again cast later in the game, thanks to our Serra Paragon, which we'll get to. Then we've got Lantern Flare, very underplayed card. Because there hasn't been a very successful like go wide deck, especially because of the dominance of Meatok Massacre. But Lantern Flare deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life. So a little bit of very nice and needed life gain in a deck that struggles a bit with that, and has often kept me alive into the late game. And I'll explain how we're going to be going wide as we get through the deck, but we often have a fairly chunky board that we can you know, do 5-6 damage with this thing for 2 mana to a creature or planeswalker and gain that life. Really, really nice. And I'm actually, if there wasn't so many enchantments, I just wish I could run a full play set, but we do need this March of Otherworldly Light. However, the nice thing is you can cast it for its cleave cost. So even if you don't have enough creatures on the battlefield, you can just dump all your mana into the X and potentially get rid of what, you know, whatever you need to get rid of. So really, 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 really cool. And one of the good reasons to be splashing a little bit of red in what is essentially a mono-white deck. Then, the reason for this brew, the Valiant Veteran. Other soldiers you control get +1/+1. It's a 2-mana 2/2. And the nice thing is when it's in the graveyard, you can pay 5 mana, 3 colorless, 2 white, exile it, and put a +1/+1 counter on each soldier you control. It's also pretty cool there. The only creature that won't get those counters is the Serra Paragon, which is an angel, or the Brutal Cathar if it's flipped at the time when you do it. So try and avoid that if possible. Then, Valorous Stance. Amazing. Save your creatures. We've got a lot of these creatures that really need to stay on the battlefield that aren't particularly strong. I would say Valiant Veteran is the number one you know, save target if they come at you with an Infernal Grasp or a cut down. Bam, Valorous Stance is here to save the day, and can also remove a Shieldred for us with its second option there, which is why I've gone over this for this over the Destroy Evil that I showed you a little earlier. Then, very important card in the deck, and the main real reason why we're splashing red is Baird, the Argivian Recruiter. 2-mana 2/2, legendary creature. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't. Human Soldier. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power greater than its base power, you create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. There's a few ways in which we can do this. If you enlist your Guardian of Benalia, that means that by the end of the turn, its power will be greater than its base power, because you know, that's what enlist does. And so then at the end of your turn, you will create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Of course, if you've got a few Valiant Veterans in play, suddenly these are 2/2s and 3/3s, and just this endless machine that poops out chump blockers is really, really good, and of course really helps with the Lantern Flare. That's what I was trying to mention earlier when I was saying I'll explain later, is that, you know, we're going to be going wide with Baird and pooping out all of these little soldiers, and that's going to help to make for a much bigger Lantern Flare. Again, I wish this wasn't legendary. It would be so sweet if it wasn't. The deck would just hum along a lot better if you could make, have multiples of these on the battlefield. I guess we could sneak in like a one-of mirror box just for fun, but yeah. I still need to do a mirror box deck. I think that's going to come in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that as well. But anyway, that's it as far as our 2-drops. Then we've got, oh, of course, sorry. I was trying to explain to you other ways in which we can have creatures with power greater than its base power. All you need to do is have a Valiant Veteran in play. All your soldiers get +1/+1, so at the beginning of every end step, you will be making, as long as Baird and the Valiant Veteran are on the battlefield together, you will be making a 1/1 every single turn. So really, really cool little synergy there. Then we've got a full playset of Brutal Cathar for some additional removal, and it is a soldier, believe it or not. Of course, not on its nightbound side, but when it's daybound, it's a 3/3, which I really I cannot stress this enough. Brutal Cathar is like a little bit worse right now in the format, especially with how much mono black you run into every single day, and the fact that they often run 3 or 4 cut downs. You just cast your Brutal Cathar and it gets removed straight away before it can even exile anything. Now, if you've got the Valiant Veteran on the battlefield, it enters as a 3/3 instead of a 2/2. Suddenly it's cut down resistant, and they need an Infernal Grasp to deal with it or something like that. So it's been really, really nice, and that's all I really need to say about that. Other than the aforementioned fact that it won't get the +1/+1 counters if it's nighttime, if you are exiling a Valiant Veteran from your graveyard. Then we've got a Gavony Dawnguard. This is our card advantage / card draw engine. As you can see, we don't have any other ways of doing so. The first deck in a long time that I haven't been playing a couple of copies of Bankbusters in, because we need to play creatures and attack. But if it's neither day nor night, it becomes day as it enters the battlefield. And when it does switch between day and night, you get to look at the top 4 cards of your library, and you may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them, put it into your hand. Loving that. Absolutely loving that. Of course, the majority of the creatures in our deck, except for the Serra Paragon, are mana value 3 or less, so we're almost always going to get a hit off of this. And if you've got a couple of them on the battlefield, they start to, you start to draw a few cards, which is very important in a deck like this. And the fact that it has a 3 mana 3/3 with Ward 1 is also not terrible either, especially when you have a Valiant Veteran or 2 on the battlefield, and it's like a 4/4 or 5/5 with Ward 1. Really not terrible for your 3 mana investment. Then we've got 3 copies of Angelfire Ignition, which has been fantastic. You put it on your Guardian of New Benalia. Enlist, a 4/4 Gavony Dawnguard because you've got a Valiant Veteran in play, and then you hit, you're hitting for a lot at that point. It would be like a lot, just put it that way. And the trample and the lifelink, alongside Lantern Flare, has been keeping me alive in matches where you'd think you'd have lost a lot sooner. So I honestly don't even know what else I would play in the deck other than this. I was at one point thinking maybe Fable of the Mirror Breaker, because we could copy our Valiant Veterans. It's not legendary, but at the end of the day, I think Angelfire Ignition really fits perfectly in a deck like this. And of course, then we top out with our Serra Paragons, which will allow us to recast the things we discard to the Guardian of New Benalia from the graveyard, as well as just adding a nice flying threat with a chunky booty that can, keep on attacking if the ground lanes are blocked. And yeah, that's really all that we need to say about Serra Paragon. What a card! Like it's going to keep showing up in brews, I think, right through its time in standard. We still need to figure out many more ways of breaking this, other than just casting your creatures again. There's lots that can be done with this. I can't wait to keep brewing with it. But that's it as far as the mana base goes. However, we do get to run the Secluded Courtyard because it's a tribal deck. So, that's great because Boros didn't get a pain land. So we don't need to run those terrible tap lands that gain you a life or whatever. We can just go for the Secluded Courtyard and 4 Sundown Passes. Then we've got 1 Sokenzan, and 2 Eiganjos for a little bit of extra removal. That's the deck. Boros Soldiers version 1. Let's jump into some games. Of course, as usual at this point in my videos is when I like to do a little bit of self-promotion. So if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, kindly consider doing so. If you could also like the video, leave a comment, share it around to all your friends, hit the bell notification icon, all that good stuff really, really helps me out, and it's completely free to do. And if you could also join our Discord community, that would be pretty great. I think we're going to mull that. Much better. Much better. Kaiurai. With a little fox. Oh, mono red. That's bad. I think what we need to do here is swing a ding ding. I was gonna say maybe hold up the Eiganjo and try and kill Rada, or we can still do that at a later turn. Opponent seems to be bricking a little bit, which is making me very happy. Epicure. Subpar card. For sure. This will reduce the cost of the Eiganjo. And because we have counters on the Guardian, we get to poop out a little soldier. Do we get rid of this little chick? I don't think so. Let's hold up that Eiganjo for something else. Gonna enlist the little soldier guy here. Eight, 6 trample, lifelink, blah blah. Oh! And another 1/1. Haven't top decked our Anthem effect guy yet, but I think we might be able to polish this one off without it. Swing with Birdie Boy. Poor guy, no lands. if I play this, we have 5. Still cannot do the double whammy. Meh. Trample next turn is gonna be OMG. Poor guy, no lands. I almost feel bad. Goes for the Dawnguard with the ward. To be expected. It doesn't feel so special when the poor guy only has 2 lands, but at least we got to show off some of the interactions, which is the whole point of these videos at the end of the day. Game 1 victory! I've been winning games with this thing. Like, I'm not gonna say it's like, ooh, super top deck, sleeper, play this now. But if you've got the cards already, give it a try. It's very fun, cool, like new play patterns, things that you may not have been doing very often. And yeah, actually getting some sweet ass wins with it. That is a 100% mulligan if I ever saw one. Boop. Lord Magic with the mono white deck, or could be Selesnya, which if it is, I'm going to hate the fact that I have now put my 1 of 2. Oh yes, it is the enchantment deck after all. Oh. Aha! Alright. Oh, okay. Maybe not. Maybe just happens to run some Circle of Confinements for removal. Okay, definitely not. That's getting exiled, like yesterday. Pass the turn. Gross. Very gross. Whoops. Oh, that's nice. Why would you put it on this guy? You could have actually attacked there. There we are. Blood City. Ouch. Please attack. Please attack. First strike. Moonrage Brute. Okay. Dang. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The luck that these people have sometimes just blows me away. And he even has 2 mana to pump into the adversary. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's game over. Oh. Good game. We've just top decked only lands of noteworthy, and the opponent has come at us with some absolute nonsense. Get stuffed. Let's give him the thanks, deck. We've gone down to 23 lands just to avoid this. But, you know, the shuffler is what the shuffler is. Get your tinfoil hats on, because I do not believe that it is truly random. I'm one of those guys. Then there's the more, like, sane side of me that goes, okay, it's probably completely random, but sometimes it really feels like it isn't. Okay. Oh, nice. First time we've actually drawn one of these. When they see Boros and they see the Guardian, they're expecting old school Boros. Please give me a land. Please give me a land. Yes. This is probably... Okay. Forget I said anything. enchantment decks, guys. Be prepared. Okay. Whew. That scry is just... Oh, yeah. Gonna let the Cathar flip. Interesting. Wow, what a deck. Cool, man. And he's got the... Oh my god, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with this bullshit? Oh my lord, lord. Yeah, well, that's nice. Yes. Oh, this card is really getting on my nerves right now. It's becoming like my new pet peeve. He takes my Angelfire Ignition. I should have seen that coming. What is going on here? Okay. So terrible that he snagged our Angelfire. That was... What? What a cool deck, man. Like, finally, someone playing some interesting new stuff. 5-color enchantments, it looks like. Cool, cool. Wow, I'm all for it. Creatures you don't control get -2/-0. does this do? If you have one or fewer cards in hand, draw 4 cards. What? What? Are you kidding me with this bollocks, mate? What is this deck, man? Amazing. Like, what a saga, man. How is no one not playing this thing? I mean, it does cost a lot, but that is bonkers. Like, I really am enjoying this guy's brewing capacities. Question is, what do we March of Otherworldly Light next turn? We get back our veteran. Do we want a veteran back, or do we want to get rid of a naturalist? I think it's veteran time. Or we could deal with the wedding announcement. Then all of his guys get smaller than ours. Or we get rid of the Kiki Jiki. What does this do on the next chapter? Becomes a... Okay, but based on the number of cards in hand. Flying Trample. This is a crazy match. Really enjoying it. 5/5 Trample. Are you kidding me? How is no one playing this thing? That's just game over. I just honestly cannot believe that just happened. Like, what a nice deck. I'm very impressed. Well played opponent. Like, well brewed. Incredible, like, synergies and things that no one has thought of. Freaking nice, man. I don't even, you know, I don't even worry about losing to decks like that. It's like, bravo for being creative and, you know, independent thinker. Alright. How are we doing for time? This is probably going to be final match. Not doing as well as I'd hoped. But I kind of built the deck to beat upon like mono black and things. Just spent the whole introduction saying, oh, look at all these mono black decks. And now it's just been a bunch of enchantment decks back to back. Meme Lord 1, 2, 3. Mono blue, counter every single spell that I cast deck. You shouldn't cast your impulse now. Then I would have worried about counter magic. Yep, definitely a Jin deck. And we're flooding again. I'm gonna enlist even if it doesn't buff me, so that I get some scry action, because I don't want more lands. Thank you very much. Honestly, don't really want another Guardian either. Definitely a Jin deck. These are on the verge of being good. Still not showing up anywhere on Untapped. Our Eiganjos are going to be fundamental. That's nice. Digging for that Jin, huh? Again, why would you do that? I think one Cathar is enough. Here comes the Jin. Are you ready? Delver. Trying to bait a counterspell out of his hand with the March. Maybe he's got the flip out the back or whatever, slip out the back. Cool. Can't counter that, can ya? Another fading hope. Yeah. Poor guy, he's just been digging for that Jin. Now you got no counter spells. Baby. I've been waiting for this moment. They just fall apart. If you can find a way to get rid of that Jin, deck falls apart. Unfortunately, they almost always have a way to save it, but we got a little lucky in that one. Alright, we have arrived at the 45-minute mark. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it at that. Although I don't feel like I really got to show you everything. Like, the deck is good. I've been getting some sweet-ass victories off of camera. But you'll just have to take my word for it. Jumping back into the deck with my final thoughts, overall review. Nothing much else to add. I hope we get more support for soldiers in the next set. I like this type of brew. You know me and my tribal synergies. There's definitely going to be a version 2, 2.5, version 3 coming in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. But nothing I would change in this specific build right now. But I did want to show you version 2 quickly. We won't get to play a game with it, but all I've done is replaced the angels, the Serra Angel, with these 2 5-drops. And this is really annoying me. If I just wish the Defiler was a 4-drop, and it wasn't a 5/5. Like, they could have just made it like a 4/4 vigilance, and it was a 4-drop, and then the Serra Redeemer is the 5-drop, or the other way around, make the Serra Redeemer 4-drop, and you know, make it a little less strong or whatever. Because the fact that these two are together on curve, but they seem to be perfect, like, to play with each other, makes me really annoyed, because you're almost never going to get there. We're going to have to try and figure out a deck where we can get to this quicker, because the Filer of Faith is the white Phyrexian thing with the Phyrexian text where you can pay 2 life, and whenever you cast a white permanent, you create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. So alongside our Baird, we could potentially be making more than one of these 1/1s every turn, and the Redeemer says that whenever a creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on that creature. So for every one of these little 1/1s, they're coming into play as 3/3s. And if you've got a few Valiant Veterans in play, suddenly they're 4/4s, they're 5/5s. I've had it go off in testing once or twice. It's phenomenal. It feels so damn good. But, like I said, very difficult to cast in a deck like this to get to 5 mana, and then, you know, they're both stacking up on top of each other. It's really, really frustrating. I wish there was a way. You know, I wish they'd done it slightly differently, where one of the 2 was a 4-drop or something like that. Then it would have been mwah. But that is going to be it for tonight's gameplay footage. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you all tomorrow with another fresh brew. And until then, this is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out. Peace, y'all.